Sharon, do we have any apologies for absence, please?
Not by them aware now.
No? Anyone else know of any? No? Right.
I suppose we should give Rogers, he's actually on holiday, isn't he?
Yeah, Roger's on holiday.
Yes, that's true.
Roger's on holiday.
Thank you. Declarations of councillors' interests. Nothing that I'm aware of. Mariam?
That I'm aware of.
You?
Yeah.
Nothing I'm aware of.
None that I'm aware of. And none that I'm aware of.
Thank you. The minutes of the last meeting, are you happy to get those signed off as a true record of last month's meeting? Yes, yes. Okay. A proposer, please. Martin, seconded by David. All in favour of those? Thank you. Bob, were you present last month? Okay. One abstention on that one from Bob. To receive the chair's reports. Right, 5.1. Notes that Highways Improvement Application number 28 refers to Lower Burlington Road, just past Portishead Primary School, was recorded as Lower Burlington Road on PAPG minutes, August 2025. What's that about?
Yeah.
I think there's a typo that it should be, it was referred to as Burlington Road in the minutes
rather than Lower Burlington Road.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Right. Fair dues. 5.2, North Somerset Council.
So we need to correct the minutes just to reflect Burlington Road.
Yes.
A resident contacted me about it.
Ah, I see. It came actually through someone else spotting it. Oh, okay. Fair dues. NSC has confirmed that Highway Improvements Application 2725 has been added to stage 1 of the long list, and we know how long that is. Reference number IT 1531. This is for parking restrictions on Clevedon Road. 5.3, the railway clock tower proposals. The Town Council received an acknowledgement from the Department of Transport and has advised that the request made by Mr. Stead was forwarded to the Rail Minister. PTC will receive a copy of the Minister's response in due course. On which note, councillors, are you happy that the Bristol Rail campaign, that I send them details in respect to the clock tower and that they can perhaps take it up? This is in relation to all their activities in the Bristol and Wecker area. 5.4, external emergency plan for Redcliffe Bay Petroleum Storage Depot has been shared with PTC and held on electronic file for information.
Sorry, Mike, do you need us to propose and second that one?
I don't think so. You all seem to nod in agreement.
It's just something that you're going to send on, isn't it?
Yes, I'll get them involved in the campaign. As you know, Redcliffe Bay's got about 11 tanks up there in use. Sorry, David.
I was just going to say, in terms of that emergency plan, because we're writing an emergency plan for the Town Council in the event of a major incident now, which actually references the Redcliffe Bay Petroleum Storage Place as the only hazard. I can't remember what the terminology for it is, but it's the only high hazard place in Portishead. It'd be quite useful if I could see a copy. I'm not sure whether we can put it on our website as well to refer to, but possibly not.
I certainly think that as a consequence of its presence, the furthest of the 7 side sirens is way up above the ship, isn't it, near the ship? And that was in reflection to the fact that the storage tanks are there, which hold kerosene, which isn't as inflammable as petrol. But even so, yes, I mean, it is flammable. And as far as I'm aware, there are about 11 tanks with it in. 5.5, NSC CCTV activity. We have another councillor. Hello, Tim. Grab a chair. There's something a bit funny with the camera this evening, which is why we're sort of a bit skewy. So make yourself live and just declare whether you have any interests on the agenda. None that you're aware of. Thank you. So where are we? The 5.5 NSC CCTV activity report has been received and held on the office file. A copy has been shared with Councillor Alan George. 560, the enforcement case, Bristol Road relating to a caravan being used for residential purposes. We can't tell you where it is, but it is looking as though it's been occupied full-time by someone in their front garden. 5.7, District Councillor responds to support highways improvement proposals number 38 around St Joseph's and Gordano School gyratory system. Mariam, would you like to explain a bit more about that one, please?
Yes, so that's a B road at the moment that goes past St. Joseph's and Gordano. We want to make that triangle area a 20-mile-an-hour zone and have signs to actually state that there are schools there, because there currently isn't any. So if anybody was passing through the town, they wouldn't know that they're passing schools if they were bypassing the M5 to come through those roads.
And how far up Bristol Road and in the other direction would you like to see the start of that 20-mile-an-hour zone?
I think I've even asked for pavement, because there isn't any pavements going down the Bristol Road either to go to the Sheep's Way area. I think there's something, I can't remember what it's called, where the Travis Perkins are. There's no pavements for children to actually walk to St. Joseph's School from there either. So I think we've asked for that in that, and it's been approved by Councillor Burden.
Yes, that's correct.
So hopefully we can get some. I don't think it'll be ready in time for schools for September, but maybe next year.
No. I mean,
Yeah, just to add to that, obviously doing some research back in 2018 and 2019 with regards to Bristol Road and the schools. Obviously, each year a new set of students join the school. So therefore, obviously, the movement of children on the roads changes yearly. Currently, there are quite a larger amount of people using the Bristol Road to obviously leave the schools. So again, it could change the following year. It could be more, could be less. So yeah, we also need to be aware of that.
am I right in thinking, though, that the majority of them will come across that lower crossing on the Wyndham Way and cut through the estate and come out on Bristol Road rather than use that dangerous corner? I can't imagine any children or pedestrians are using that dangerous corner.
But we do have a lot of, and I think it was a request made from St. Joseph's headmaster as well, that said that it was just becoming quite dangerous, and they wanted it to be, at least for the cars and motorists, to slow down.
Oh, I'm certainly not disagreeing with your 20 mile an hour. No. I just wondered about the viability of putting a pavement in there, simply because it's presumably on one side in private land and ditto on the other. We're around Travis's.
I think at the moment what Councillor George did was he's actually organised with St. Joseph's School and the football Portishead Football Club, is that they can use it as a park and ride, to use the football club as a parking and then walk back behind the school to school. They've got a park and ride thing going on with that which Councillor George sorted.
That's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, thanks. 5.7, District Councillor respond. Oh, I've done that one. And 5.8, under new guidance through S96A of the Highways Act, NSC has recently consulted on the removal of 2 London plane trees on South Avenue. A decision is expected. 5.9, Road Car Park. Whilst NSC has signed its order off to charge for parking, parking will be free until such time that NSC has the resources to process permits, beg your pardon, or parking charges. And what do we think the delay is likely to be on that? A matter of months, or
No indication.
no indication? 5.10, Jehoot's Pharmacy. Waitrose recently closed unexpectedly. David will urge PTC to write to NSC an update in terms of the pharmaceutical needs assessment in the hope that NSC will expedite granting new licenses to potential incoming pharmacists. David, have you got anything to add on that one?
I think all the committee are aware that this Jehoot's Pharmacy in Waitrose closed, I think it was last week, leaving us with just 2 pharmacies. We were underprovided for anyway. At the time we submitted our response to the pharmaceutical needs assessment, we had 3 pharmacies. So my suggestion, if the committee agrees, is that we just write to NSC and to the CCG to update them on the current situation and just increase our alarm levels over this. We're aware that the is an application in place for a pharmacy in an additional pharmacy in Watershead, but that might take some time to be delivered.
Mm-hmm. Would that be in one of the current facilities or in one of the empty units on the high street?
I'm not sure. Probably an empty unit on the high street.
Right.
So I don't know if we need to vote on that.
I think it's just a matter of giving them the updated information.
Okay. So if people are happy, I'll do that.
Yeah, fine. Thank you. Thank you. 510 Sheepway from Portbury House to Bank House will be closed to traffic between 9:30 and 3:30 on the 19th of November. Not sure. Portbury House is presumably down t'other end, and Bank House. Where's Bank House? Do we know? No, not sure. Right. So, agenda item 6. We don't have any members of the public or public online, so we'll just go straight into the applications. The first being 1582. That's section 73 application to vary condition 2 on the plans attached to the planning permission 0254, which was approved in April, I think, or thereabouts. Proposed demolition of the existing conservatory and erection of a 2-story side extension and single-story rear extension to allow for alterations to the roof and windows to the side elevation. You may recall that the neighbours attended, as did in fact the applicants on one occasion. They seemingly have re-hit the roof more on the side extension, which, as I said, got approved. So are there any comments from anyone? Are we going to propose this as an approval? And an improved, I think, to the actual application as was approved originally.
I think the only other thing to say, Mike, is I think they moved the windows on the ground floor closer to the road and the window on the first floor closer to the road, which might reduce privacy, which all seems to be good to me.
Yeah, I mean, in the actual garage, they've pulled the window down to the other end, haven't they? And even the slit windows, they seem to have reduced the size of them and put a smaller one in as well. Anyway, would someone like to propose? David proposes approval, seconded by Bob. All in favour of that?
Objection, yeah.
No objections. Okay. Thank you. 1607, TPO up on Down Road, 227A, the Sweet Chestnut. Any comments from anyone? Marianne.
I'll just talk on it for a second. I think, oh, sorry, this is the Down Road, the 285 or the one before? Which one are we doing?
227.
227. No, sorry, I thought it was on the second one. Sorry.
Okay. 1608, full application 285 Down Road, proposed erection of a single-story side and rear extension to the existing bungalow.
We want to talk on.
Please do.
So there are 3 comments online, but there are no public objections. One's new, yeah, they're neutral. They just ask that they don't obscure the driveway visibility for motorists going past, which I don't think we can really have a say on. And then the other comment was that they were concerned about perhaps overshadowing might be an issue, but since it's a first floor development, it's not going to look like it has a risk of that.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Couldn't see a problem with it at all, to be honest.
Right. Any further comments?
Yeah, just to echo what Graham says, there's just that concern about potential shadowing of the ground floor bathroom window, I think, because the new build is coming out. And so whereas at the moment there's just driveway and a fence there, there's going to be a build there, but the height isn't that much greater. So that the person who put in the comment just asked for the planning officer, is that okay in terms of light levels?
Because I believe I recall that it did meet the angled 45 degrees, is it, or something? Rule. Yeah, it did meet that. Do we have a proposer? No objection.
I propose no objection.
Seconded by Martin. Okay, all in favour of no objection? Unanimous, thank you.
We're back to 1607. Sorry, is there no comment going in?
No comment going in.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, 0816, full application for 66 Slade Road, new detached dwelling, which happens to be on Avon Way, approximately opposite Coombe Avenue. Right, as mentioned before we went live, there are a number of, well, there's one objection online from a resident with 10 points, all of which are detailed. I didn't have a problem with it, but I can see there are comments coming from members.
I put no objection to that one. I think David might have raised an issue.
I read the comments written by the objector online, who I think is the neighbour. This is a semi-detached house.
Mhm.
Slade Road has long and narrow gardens, and the proposed new dwelling is in the rear half of one of the existing gardens. In theory, it means it's got good access from Avon Way, because the house will be facing towards Avon Way, and so it's possible to have a drive there. The concern is, though, that it is going to be casting a shadow on the garden. It's going to allow from the south or rear elevation doors and windows views into the garden, so there's going to be a loss of privacy. And I've got absolute sympathy with the concerns raised by the resident. On the plus side, and I get two other minor. On the plus side, of course, it's a two-bedroom house, which is what we desperately need in Portishead. We need small dwellings, although I suspect this would be quite an expensive two-bedroom dwelling. And the other comment I thought about it is it doesn't actually specify the kind of stonework on the building, and I just thought, given that area, the stone used in the houses on Slade Road is quite distinctive. It would be quite good to, if this does go ahead, to include that similar stone work and colouring. But in principle, I object just simply because it's it's going to be right at the back of someone's back garden and overlooking what are quite narrow gardens from the neighbouring house.
I can't help thinking, in relation to what you've been saying, that are the current owners of 66 Slade Road the ones that sold the garden off in the first place, potentially as a building plot? Were they therefore aware that this was likely to happen at some point of time?
I think the objection comes from the other half of the semi, the guard. So you got this series of houses with long, narrow gardens. That the new house is going in the back of one of the gardens, and I think the objection is coming from the neighbouring half of that semi-detached house.
Ah, I see.
So I suspect, but although I don't know, that it may be the owners of 66 Slade Road who've put this application in.
Yes, as I
and it's concerned
prefer,
the neighbour in terms of with the garden next door about overlooking and loss of privacy.
Well, maybe it will. I don't know. It's a difficult one. I mean, presumably they could then screen things off a bit using their garden to facilitate some vegetation to screen it a bit more.
It's a one-storey house built on a hill, so inevitably it's going to be quite visible.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, the Avon Way goes up like this.
Yeah.
The plans show it's going to be quite overlooking.
Yeah.
Particularly the neighbour in the semi next door.
Yeah. Okay. Fair point. I mean, there's of course a brick wall going up alongside Avon Way that's going to get breached. There's a garage at the top end of the garden, isn't there, which is currently used for access in and out. So one of the comments here is in relation to the access into the garden. What will become a garden turning garagey area for the cars. So in relation to your comment about the stone, I mean, that's for quarry stone from Newlands Hill, and I really don't think it's likely that they'll be using that because I don't think there's any around. Not quarried anyway, maybe old demolition stuff, but any further comments from anyone? So Do we have a proposer? I'm happy to propose approval of, or no objection rather.
Don't know, I'm thinking on what David is saying now. Is it worth perhaps maybe saying objection unless the officer could perhaps make sure that it's not breaching any of those things?
I would have thought the distance between the proposed development and the back garden, back elevation of the property next to 66, presumably 64, would have been sufficient distance to not have that overshadowing or overlooking too much. But I might be wrong. I'm not sure. It's difficult to put it into perspective.
Why don't you suggest no objections subject to there being no loss of privacy for neighbouring property?
That sounds well worded. Yeah.
You'll have to make that. That'll be your proposals.
I propose no objections subject to no loss of privacy to the neighbouring property as stated in the objections that they've put online. Seconded?
Yeah, I'd second that.
2 abstentions? Or vote against?
I'll vote against.
Okay.
Both on those recorded.
Thanks. Then the next one is another tree, 1529 on 24 Pier Road. A relatively small crabapple in the front garden, if one can call it a garden. And there are about 3 trees along that stretch. And I put on the webs, our little chart. I put object to it because I feel it's a loss to the street scene. I know it's not a very big tree. I'm not even sure why they want to fell it. Must be a reason. Is it because they want to create more car parking space? That's the only thing that occurred to me.
And I think I've agreed with you as well, because I've said unless they can demonstrate it's diseased, or they need to replace it with a suitable native species, otherwise there's no reason to get rid of a tree.
Mm-hmm. And crab apples are native, aren't they, I think? I mean, we've got one in our garden. It's certainly not
But
diseased.
it would be like for like a native species.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why are you getting rid of it?
Yeah.
Mark, have it say front garden? I thought looking at the plan it was in the back garden, but I may have missed that.
Well, looking at Street View, there's certainly a tree there in the front, one of about 3 along the whole length. You think it's in the back garden?
Yes. Yeah.
You sure? Because in that case,
check.
It's right, yeah.
and it does look like a crab
Yeah,
apple, the
check.
one in the front,
Looks like it's in fact.
because it doesn't state it, does it? Really?
What's the address?
1529. If anyone's on that one at the moment, presumably you are, aren't you?
I'd say it was in the back.
I'm pretty sure.
Well, if it is in the back, then it's not going to obviously have much impact on anyone. Certainly not the street scene.
I thought it was in the front. Is that it? Let's have a look.
Is there enough? No. I don't know. There are 3 trees in the front.
Along the road?
On Pier Road, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Well, there's 4. There's one on the end.
They've all got one parking space, haven't they?
Yeah, it's front parking smell. Yeah, it's a very narrow road, isn't it?
Yeah, but there's
you just about squeeze a car past.
But the hedge is very uniform along that stretch, along the whole terrace.
Which is why I'm questioning is the, because I've been down there, and it's why I'm questioning is they have the tree at the back, and looking at the aerial photograph.
It's at the back, isn't it?
It's at the back.
The plan.
Well, we have T1. Where is that? Where it's shown?
Is that
Or is
it?
it?
No, I don't think so. I think the plan here the
At the
guys
front.
submitted shows it's in the back.
Yeah,
Oh, I see.
I would say
This
it's
is
in the
Pier
back
Road.
too.
We seem to have an indication here that it's the front one.
The front one, yeah.
And they've stuck a pin in the property, which shows the pin stuck in the back, but the T1 is shown at the front.
Well, is that the front? I mean, that's it in the front, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't really see from where you are, but
Either way, I'm fairly neutral about these. These
Can't
are
see a
new
problem
hazards.
taking it down. Although,
It's only one of about 4.
hmm,
Anyway, does anyone support my objection to this? Thank you, Mariam. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. 3 approval.
I got no objection at all.
You do or don't?
No, I don't. No objection at all.
Oh well,
No.
I'm proposing an objection to it,
Oh, okay.
and Mariam's seconding it.
Second, yes.
Does anyone else? Tim, thank you. 3 of us. You're all fairly neutral over there.
Have you got anybody against it?
Against, but
Okay, so
Well, I mean, I have a
Three-
casting
three-
vote anyway, so it's 3 against 3, so it's now 4. So, okay,
no objection, yeah?
yes. Right, next one is another TPO, the Watch House, 70A Nor Road. Any comments? Mostly reducing crowns and things, so it's all fairly common and standard tree works. Nope.
Seems like it.
Mhm. An older, yeah, alders, and one beech, but I don't know how big it is.
if you look at the back garden, the trees are quite closely bunched together. So I suspect a lot of the removal is about allowing more room for growth for the trees that they're pruning back. But I'd be surprised if this addresses long term the issue of stones rising in people's driveways. I'd have thought, well, pop up again somewhere else when the trees grow a bit more, but it seems like a reasonable application to me.
Well, I don't think we have to necessarily make comments about that one, do we?
No, we don't
No,
want to.
because no. Okay. So lastly then, oh no, it won't be the last, in the first section anyway. 1675, full application at 35 Bristol Road. Again, this is another section 73, application to vary the condition, which were approved back in 23. And that's a proposed erection of a 2-storey side extension to the east elevation and replacement of existing conservatory to the rear with a garden room. Erection of a new front porch as well to allow, to allow for the demolition of the glass house, the greenhouse at the back. Does anyone have any comments about this? It seemed all fairly straightforward and
Couldn't see a problem.
no.
No.
Propose, no objection. Seconded by Bob, no objection, all round. Thank you. So the 2 late applications that came in, one was 5 The Deans, 1667, proposed erection of a 2-storey rear extension and a 1-storey side extension. And again, I didn't have plans for that one. I've looked at them. I didn't have a problem with it. This 2-storey side rear extension doesn't come to the boundary, does it? Quite?
No.
I think it's the side does. It's an extension of the garage, but it's set back a bit, so I don't think it's going to impact the neighbour's garden. Particularly, I don't think there were any windows on that
Not me
elevation.
neither. No.
No, there were no objections online.
No.
So, proposer from Bob, no objection. Seconded by David, all in favour of no objection. Thank you. And then 1721, 8 Robin Place, proposed installation of an air source heat pump to the west elevation. I understand, David, you have a comment to make about that one.
Simply that I'm all in favour of air source heat pumps, but the paperwork submitted with this one and the concern raised by the resident was that it failed the sound test. If we look at the attachment online, as the neighbour points out, big letters at the bottom of the sound test, it says fail.
Because I think, I mean, certainly when it's cropped up in the past with air source heat pumps, it's no louder than a domestic refrigerator.
Oh.
And I think the government's sort of made it easier to get them installed, haven't they, by changing the rules a little bit in terms of the distance between the heat the pump and the neighbouring property, which presumably this is well within the guidelines. But we could make that comment if it failed, that particular machine or model failed. It would get picked up by the planning department.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think, although it's slightly above the guidelines, obviously the longer the pump's in, the more louder it will be.
Yeah, good.
So, point of if it's slightly over now, in a few years' time, it could be a lot.
So they might just have to change the model that they're particularly interested in. So, do we have a caveat on that? A proposer on a proposal that we have no objections, subject to a none failed application regarding the unit, or words to that effect.
The planning officer finding the sound test satisfactory.
Yeah.
Just trying to find that application.
Yeah, so the reading came out as 43.85 or something, and rounding it up, it's 44 when it should be 42 at the maximum.
Okay.
So if they can perhaps get one that comes below, that would be better.
They chose the wrong model then.
Yes.
So no objection, subject to.
Up to that, yeah.
So
Okay.
the noise it's the noise calculation
Yeah.
that came with the application. It's a 1-page PDF manual sound calculator carried out by the applicant themselves, I guess.
Noise mitigation.
Place. And at the bottom right, final result, point 10, it says fail planning. So I think as non-experts in this, we're sort of happy with it in principle, so long as the planning officer makes an assessment of what this means. It's not our area of expertise to make a judgment on that, I don't think.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay.
There was just an objection from the neighbour because they were concerned that the gardens are quite close and they're going to hear that noise. They were quite concerned about that.
They've picked it up, haven't they? They've obviously read the
I've had one of these for a long time now, and honestly, I don't know what the figures are on mine, of course, but I can't hear the thing. Neighbours have ever complained about it. I just wonder if people are jumping to conclusions and thinking this is going to be much noisier than it really is.
I think this is. I take your point, Martin. But this is the test. This is the
Oh, yes, I know. Yeah, sure. I accept that. I just.
Does your sorry?
So are we going with no objection, subject to an acceptable sound test?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. That's vote on that. Yep. That's all. Thank you. Right. Okay. Moving on then to 8.2 North Somerset Council's library consultation. Copy of which I have here, which is quite extensive. Section 1, about you. And so it goes on, page after page after page. North Somerset Council needs to make big savings across many of its services, including libraries. To plan for the future, they are looking at different ways library services could be run. This means some difficult decisions will need to be made, which could include reducing opening hours, changing how services are delivered, and in some cases possibly closing local libraries. NSC wants to understand your views on the proposed options and any alternatives you suggest. Also, they want to hear about how you currently use the library services and your thoughts on potential income generation opportunities. The consultation is open from the end of July to the 24th of October. Full details can be found at. There will be a number of engagement sessions during the consultation where residents can learn more about the proposed options for change, ask questions and share views. Details of times and how to book can be found here. Recommendation: to consider the consultation and respond to questions 1 to 19. Here they are. Courtesy of Sharon, thank you very much for printing that all off. All noted? All noted. And then you have the list of the applications that were approved or not approved. Are we going to reply to the library consultation just to say that we understand their...
It's quite complicated. I filled out mine as a resident yesterday, seeing this on the agenda.
Circulated it, David. That's why I printed it out, and I circulated the copy that I screenshot each question
Yeah.
I went through. Like to begin with, like say it's quite easy. It's like it wants to know about you, but then it goes on to more detail.
The three, and then it's got three options: A, B, and C, and actually distinguishing between the three of them is quite tricky.
So that is why yeah.
I know Jenny has said to me she had an interest in this, so she might be happy. Oh, I'd hate to volunteer her for it if she isn't happy to do it. But we're looking for someone to do it on behalf of the town council, are we, rather than just as a resident?
Well, the consultation is open until the 24th of October, so you do have time if you wanted a small working party, which could potentially include to actually respond on behalf, but formulate a response to go.
Oh, well, do we want a working party?
Or is there
Then-
somebody that wants to put something together?
We better get,
Or do you want to put something together with me and then we circulate it?
I'm happy to do that, yes. I mean, if you think Jenny's keen to get involved, Bob?
Yeah, my concerns is we're going back to year after year after year when it comes to North Somerset Council's consultations. There's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of misunderstanding, and there's a bit of anger from residents when they provide these consultations. And I think part of the response is that we should we should try and communicate with North Somerset Council and find a better way of presenting these consultations, because they do put people off, and I think we're missing that point, that we need that people to fill them in.
Yeah, no, I think there are some times where you can book to go along to talk to somebody about it. I think that's offered in the.
Yeah. But you're saying you found it quite complicated,
Yeah,
David.
it's
I think it is. I mean, I think the reassuring thing from a Portishead perspective is that all scenarios only include, I think, a half-hour cut in library opening times a week. I think it's on a Saturday. I think it'll close at 12:30 rather than 1 o'clock. I'm speaking from memory. It's 2 days or so ago I looked at this.
Yeah.
But I think otherwise, the libraries that are threatened are Winscombe and Pill and one other one. So from the town council's perspective, it's not a big issue unless you wanted to make any general points about library services and cuts to library services. For people interested, there's some really interesting data associated with this about use of our library, and I think per capita, the Portishead Library is more used than any other library in the area, which is great to see. And it's used by a whole range of ages, and so it's interesting to read the associated paperwork. But whether we need a working group, it might be best perhaps just to
Circulate something round.
Okay.
Yeah.
Circulate, yeah. So should we work on drafting something?
Yeah, fine.
And circulate it to the committee and then put the rubber stamp on it next month. Yeah.
I mean, in terms of sacrificing the odd half an hour here and there, do we push it maybe a little bit longer, closing an hour, and try to save the one in Pill, which there is possibly more usefulness in Pill for a library than the situation here. I'm not suggesting that we close ours, but it would seem sad to lose the one in Pill, which is acting. I think it's got the children's centre in there as well, isn't it? I think it's dualed up. Right. Well, that concludes the meeting, doesn't it? So our next meeting's on the 1st of October. Gosh, that's about the quickest one we've ever had, isn't it?
Time is
8:05, 10 past 8.